Hello and a very warm welcome to Testbook Super Coaching. Literally Legends in 5 minute सीरीज के अंतर्गत हम important writers को cover करेंगे. आज के इस particular video session के माध्यम से हम important writer William Wordsworth को cover करेंगे. William Wordsworth, who is considered to be one of the pioneer romantic writers, first generation writers, lake poet भी इनको consider किया जाता है. And of course, he was typically getting influenced by the French Revolution at the beginning. Later on, of course, when he accepts the poet laureateship, people like Robert Browning are also calling him the lost leader. विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ के लिए क्या क्या चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट हैं और इनके कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क्स और साथ ही साथ में हम लोग 10 इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस को कवर करेंगे व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू बी लुकिंग एट विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ. सो देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से लेट्स जस्ट क्विकली गेट स्टार्टेड बाय लुकिंग एट लिटरेरी लेजेंड्स वर्क्स एज वेल एज कंट्रीब्यूशन दैट हैज बीन मेड बाय विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ. देखिए विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ के लिए काफी सारी चीजें जो आपको ध्यान में रखनी है. सबसे पहले आपको ये याद रखना है कि 1770 to 1850 1770 to 1850 he was born in कॉकमाउथ में इनका जन्म हुआ था. एंड वर्ड्सवर्थ की जो राइटिंग्स है, फॉर इंस्टेंस प्रेल्यूड हो गया, किस तरह से प्रेल्यूड का कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन है, कॉम्पोजिशन किस तरह से है, 14 बुक्स में डिवाइडेड है, सब टाइटल उससे रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन भी आज हम कवर करेंगे. या मिखेल हो गया, या फिर आपका टिंटन एबी हो गया, इमॉर्टैलिटी ओड हो गया, ये सारे के सारे इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क्स हैं जो विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ लिख रहे हैं दैट वी हैव टू बी माइंडफुल ऑफ, राइट. नाउ व्हेन वी आर लुकिंग एट द पर्सोना ऑफ विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ के लिए कुछ चीजें जो हमें डेफिनेटली ध्यान में रखनी है. देयर आर some important pointers that we have to remember. William Wordsworth was getting inspired by William Godwin, the writer of political justice, the father of Mary Shelley. लेकिन विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ को किसने इंस्पायर किया था? Who was the person? And this is exactly where we get started also, when we are looking at the literary legends in 5 minute series. तो विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ को किसने इंस्पायर किया था to actually write poetry? So who was the person who predominantly inspired William Wordsworth to actually get started with the act of writing? With the act of writing, it was William Taylor. William Taylor ने encourage किया था. He was his mentor, he was his teacher. William Taylor was the person. Contrary to the opinion, of course, ये S.T. Coleridge, of course, Dorothy Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, William Wordsworth together, ये लोग जा रहे हैं. And then, of course, he is prompting, he's having a similarity of opinion and ideas. लेकिन आपको ये भी चीज याद रखनी है that William Taylor was actually one of the most important influence. He was a teacher to William Wordsworth who encouraged him to compose poems. So Taylor was the one जिन्होंने Wordsworth को encourage किया था कि आपको poetry को compose करना चाहिए, produce करना चाहिए all together. And we are able to see कि एक pseudo artificial style of writing जो neoclassical poetry proclaim कर रहा था, उसके against Wordsworth का spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions recollected in tranquility आ रहा है. So that is of course very important. Now काफी सारे works हैं जो विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ के which are predominantly very important. ये commonly आपके एग्जाम्स में आते भी हैं. And we are going to be looking at some of these via some questions that we've brought for you together. ये ऐसे questions हैं जो काफी सारे टेस्ट में विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ से रिलेटेड आए हुए हैं. विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ फ्रांस भी गए थे 2 बार. Of course, you are able to see that both the trips 1790, 1791 had a very powerful impact on him, and he was also a part of Girondists, right? Ye also he was also a part of the Girondists, right? The Girondists. Who were the Girondists? Girondists were the Republican group. Girondists were the Republican group that you were able to see. So ये सारी की सारी चीजें भी we will have to definitely keep in mind. Now here comes a very interesting question that Wordsworth had actually planned the prelude and the excursion, which was a part of which of his elongated works. तो एक elongated work जिसका part इन्होंने करा था, and he wanted to basically understand, he wanted to bring forth via this entire work treat nature, treat man, treat society. So which poem are we talking about? This is supposed to be Recluse. तो ये भी आपको याद रखना चाहिए. This is Recluse that we are talking about. This is Recluse that we are talking about. तो ये work कौन सा हो जाता है? This work actually becomes Recluse that we are looking at. So William Wordsworth had planned, to make prelude, excursion part of his long poem Recluse. Recluse का part ये एक तरह से बनाना चाहते थे overall, and there are, of course, a few pointers that you can always certainly keep in mind when we are looking at Recluse. Like, it's a philosophical poem. Recluse, of course, remains unfinished. Prelude and excursion were supposed to be the parts of Recluse. ये question बार बार पूछा भी जाता है, and it wanted to treat both nature, man, and society. ठीक है, so ये चीज please ध्यान रखिएगा that how these pointers are of course coming in. Tintern Abbey, Prelude, Recluse, Ode in Intimation of Immortality, London 82, Resolution and Independence, Ode to Duty, Solitary Reaper, She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways. ये काफी Lucy Gray, Thorn, इन सब पे questions आपके एग्जाम में पूछे जा चुके हैं. So that is something that you'll have to keep in mind. Now, when we are looking at William Wordsworth, it's also very important for us to keep in mind. तो ये 5 मिनट का क्विक इंट्रोडक्शन के बाद जल्दी से थोड़े से क्वेश्चंस भी देख लेते हैं in order to understand कि विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ का क्या इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन रहता है. तो विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ के कुछ राइटिंग्स सोनेट सीरीज हैं. इनकी कुछ राइटिंग्स आपकी सोनेट सीरीज हो जाती हैं. और ये कौन कौन से वर्ड्स हैं जो एक तरह से सोनेट सीरीज हैं? You can make a note of these. It's called the River Dudden Sonnets. The River Dudden Sonnets. इनके ये sonnet sequences भी आ रहे हैं. He's writing sonnets. He's also writing ecclesiastical sonnets. ठीक है, ये साथ ही साथ में what is he writing? He's writing the ecclesiastical sonnets. He's putting across the ecclesiastical sonnets. Ecclesiastical sonnets को भी ये लिख रहे हैं. Sonnets dedicated to liberty. Sonnets dedicated to liberty. Sonnets dedicated and miscellaneous sonnets we are in. Dedicated to liberty, and of course then we are having your miscellaneous sonnets. So ये आपके important sonnet sequences हैं which are written by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth की बहुत सारी popular poems हैं. Excursion, Prelude to Milton, Tintern Abbey, Lucy Gray, you name it, and we'll be able to see that there are so many works that are coming under his kitty. मैं आपको टेलीग्राम पे कुछ important works जो हैं उनके write ups और उनकी थोड़ी सी explanation भी दे दूंगी so that you are able to see. Now, when we are looking at Prelude is of course a spiritual autobiography in 14 books that is coming in, posthumously published, of course. Now, here is where we are practicing a few questions on William Wordsworth. Nature never did betray the heart that loved her. Nature never did betray the heart that loved her. ये जो lines आप देख रहे हैं ये कहाँ से आ रही हैं? Of course, this is a video that you are able to see, but maybe you can put the answers in the comment section as you see the entire CD, the video, and आप देख सकते हैं कि कितना आपका understanding है overall. तो ये आप of course check कर सकते हैं. Now, these are very popular lines coming from Tintern Abbey. ये lines कहाँ से आ रही हैं? These are lines that are coming from the most important work, that is Tintern Abbey. Tintern Abbey में आपको ये works, ये lines पूरी की पूरी दिख रही हैं. That is where these lines are actually coming in. Wordsworth mentions about Robert Burns and Thomas Chatterton in a poem. कौन सी poem के अंदर? He is talking about both Robert Burns as well as Chatterton. So please remember Resolution and Independence. So Resolution and Independence के अंदर he is mentioning about these characters. Resolution and Independence. Resolution and Independence. This is the book in which he is mentioning about both Burns as well as Chatterton. दोनों Burns के बारे में भी रेफर होता है और Chatterton के बारे में भी इसी particular वर्क के अंदर मेंशन होता है. Milton, thou shouldn't be living at this hour. ये आपके एग्जाम्स में भी मल्टीपल टाइम्स पूछा जा चुका है. To Milton, London, 1802, right? To Milton, London, 1802. To Milton, London, 1802. To Milton, London, 1802. This is where you are able to see these lines that are coming in. Milton, thou shouldn't be living at this hour, right? So this is of course a very important work that we are able to see that is coming in. So please keep that in mind. Rather, आपका जो next question है, that is also correlated with that only. Thou soul was like a star and dwelt apart. Whose soul is he talking about? Whose soul is he talking about? He's talking about Milton's soul. He's talking about Milton's soul. ये मिल्टन की सोल के बारे में यहाँ पर बात कर रहे हैं. He's discussing about Milton's soul. He's talking about Milton's soul. What is the alternate title of Ruth? Ruth जो एक work है that is coming from the pen of Wordsworth. What is the alternate title? The Influence of Nature. The Influence of Nature is the alternate title. The Influence of Nature The influence of nature. The influence of nature is the alternate title that you are able to see जो रूथ को मिलता है. कुछ कुछ poems के explanation, like I said, I'll also try to give you on the Telegram platform. Just go over it 5 minutes के अंदर. We're just trying to make sure that we are reviewing it for you. What is the subtitle of Prelude? Prelude is considered to be a spiritual autobiography. इसका subtitle क्या है? The growth of the poet's mind. 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 The growth of the poet's mind, that is the subtitle of his work Prelude. So again, alternate of Ruth that you're able to see, the influence of nature, and subtitle of Prelude, the growth of the poet's mind. Spiritual autobiography है, and कितने books में है, कितने books में है, we just saw that it is coming in 14 books. How many books are we able to see? कितने books के अंदर available है? It is available in 14 books. In which poem does Wordsworth call child best philosopher, mighty prophet, seer, blessed? Now, Immortality Ode is a very important work जहां पर देखिए दो चीजें आपको याद रखना है. Wordsworth is just not talking about nature. It's not that he's trying to tell you कि आप अपनी सारी preoccupations को भूल जाइए, forget about your preoccupations and go in nature. He says even recollection of nature. I can be in my city avatar, but I can just have a recollection of nature that can transport me into a blissful experience altogether. So even recollection of nature is actually more than enough according to William Wordsworth. So ये भी चीज आपको याद रखना है. Childhood is also presented. So intimations of immortality, intimations of immortality, intimations of immortality, intimations of immortality, which is also famously called as the Immortality Ode, which is also famously termed as the Immortality Ode. That is another important work in which William Wordsworth is trying to tell you about the concept of childhood. Childhood के बारे में ये detail में explain करते हैं. That is another important aspect that you're able to look at. I wandered lonely as a cloud. ये of course Wordsworth की line है. So I hope you all are able to recollect. This is Wordsworth's work that we're talking about. 10,000 saw I at glance. What did Wordsworth see at a glance? What was it that Wordsworth was able to see at a glance? What was he able to see at a glance? Daffodils, right? क्या ये देख पा रहे थे at a glance? Very important. Daffodils. Daffodils is also another important work by William Wordsworth that you're able to look at, that you're able to see. Okay. Okay. Now this is of course another important question overall. Proteus is Greek sea god who can assume different shapes. The other Greek sea god is Triton, who rises with his conch, which he blows in order to calm the waves. Where do these two gods appear? ये दोनों के दोनों gods Proteus and Triton कहाँ पर आ रहे हैं? The world is too much with us, right? The world is too much. The world is too much. The world is too much. The world is too much with us. The world is too much with us. यहाँ पर you are able to see that these lines are actually coming. Both these gods are actually coming all together. इसमें दो तीन pointers और भी थोड़े से आप याद रख लीजिएगा क्योंकि Ode to Duty हो गया, Lucy Gray poems हो गई, इन सब से आपके questions आते हैं. I wandered lonely as the cloud again, इनसे भी questions आते हैं. The world is too much with us जो है ये sonnet है. It is criticism of the materialistic outlook जो लोगों के बीच में develop हो रहा था. Getting and spending, they have become the chief concerns. You want to acquire, you want to spend, and people have given their heart and soul to the pursuit of money, unfortunately. और ये nature की beauty को appreciate करना भूल गए हैं. That is the reason he is trying to say that the world is too much with us. The world has become too much with us. That is what he is predominantly trying to say. So criticism of materialism. This is a criticism of materialism that we are able to see. Okay, इसी की वजह से मैं इसको explain कर रही थी. The sea that bears her bosom, the sea that bears her bosom to the moon. This line is again from The World is Too Much with Us. A criticism of the materiality that you're able to see. The world is too much with us. The world is too much with us. The world is too much. The world is too much with us. 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 So the sea that bears her bosom to the moon, this line is appearing in The World is Too Much with Us. That's the work where we are able to see these things happening. The name of the cottage of Michael. Michael की cottage का नाम क्या होता है? What is the name of the cottage that we're able to see? It's called the Evening Star. What is it called? This is called the Evening Star. It is famously considered, it's famously called as the Evening Star. Evening Star बोला जाता है, Evening Star बोला जाता है. Okay. What is the first line of prelude? First line, prelude ka first line, which is in 14 books altogether that you're able to see. What is the first line? Oh, there is a blessing in this gentle breeze. Oh, there is a blessing in this gentle breeze. Oh, there is blessing in this gentle breeze. Oh, there is blessing in this gentle breeze, in this gentle breeze. Oh, there is blessing in this gentle breeze that we're able to see. That is the opening line of the spiritual autobiography, which means the growth of a poet's mind altogether. The still sad music of humanity. The still sad music of humanity. कहाँ से beautiful lines ली गई हैं? Again, going back to Tintern Abbey, right? Where are we going back to? We are looking at Tintern Abbey. These lines are taken from. Tintern Abbey. Tintern Abbey is where these lines are taken from. Last but not the least, who calls Wordsworth one of the giants of English poetry? Wordsworth को giants of English poetry कौन बोलता है? Wordsworth को giants of English poetry is said by John Crow Ransom. John Crow Ransom is the person who calls him John Crow Ransom. John Crow Ransom. Even Arnold, Matthew Arnold says that the only two things in the 19th century that are worth it are the essays of Emerson and the writings of Wordsworth, right? That is what you're able to see. तो इसी के साथ हम लोगों ने 5 मिनट में क्विकली वर्ड्सवर्थ के कुछ वर्क्स को देखा और बाकी के टाइम में हम लोगों ने 10 इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस वर्ड्सवर्थ से रिलेटेड करे हैं. रूथ हो गया, लूसी ग्रे पोएम्स हो गई, मिकेल हो गए, या आपका द वर्ल्ड इज टू मच विद अस, डैफोडिल्स, टिंटेड एबी, इमोर्टैलिटी ओड. All of these are important works by Wordsworth, who was also part of the Girondist party, the political Republican France-based party. Of course, इनके changing political opinions थे. He was a lake poet, he was rebellious at the beginning. He also was influenced by the French Revolution, but as and when he grows in his career, we are able to see he supports the state also. I hope आपको अच्छी तरीके से क्विक रिविजन मिल रही होगी इस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो के माध्यम से. लिटरेरी लेजेंड्स इन 5 मिनट्स के अंदर हम लोग और भी ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर्स की रिविजन करेंगे, अच्छे कॉन्सेप्ट समझेंगे. In case if you're having any doubts, please feel free to either mail it to us on neerja.raheja.faculty@testbook.com, or you can put it in the comments section. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, on 6th, 7th, and 8th of March 2023, we are having our sales going on. So do check that out as well. Thank you so much.